All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to MLS Monday. We got a lot of stuff to go over today, and I know some of you may have questioned, like, what is the actual MLS Monday topic, et cetera, that we're going to go through. And so we did roll out last week. We did have our MLS experience. We were actually had about 144 people on the Zoom with breakout rooms, et cetera. So it was actually a really, really good um, MLS experience. We had vendors on there teaching a lot of good information. There was questions about the recording, and as always, as we play with this stuff, sometimes it's a little challenging to record all the rooms at the same time because there's capacity issues and bandwidth issues with that. So we did record as much as we can, and we'll have some of that up on the YouTube channel here within a week or two. So with that being said, I want to kind of walk through a couple things. One, obviously, I'm missing my my sidekick, Joanna. She is off today, so it's just me you get stuck with. But we are going to have some fun with some of the stuff we got going on. When we're talking about the new software we rolled out last week, Wednesday, during MLS Experience, which is the Property Panorama. So we will talk about that today. And then we brought in Property Panorama, which is going to give every single one of our properties at a very high level. And again, this is not to compete with people's marketing where they spend thousands of dollars on drone photography and doing a Matterport walkthrough and those types of things. This is not to compete with that. What it's to do is for those customers of Florida Gulf Coast MLS, each and every one of you, is to give you this rich media so that when somebody goes out and searches houses in, let's call it Estero, right? It's a borderline Lee County. It's Lee County, but let's face it, in Estero, if you pull the listings, which I do every single week, look at this information. In Estero, you got Naples agents coming in, right? Nabor. You got Bonita Estero. You got our agents, right? Our customers coming in and listing properties in Estero. It's a great border example. With rich media, when somebody does a search of Estero, Florida, single family homes, 3.2s, we want your listings to get more weight and be pushed to the top. So they give preferential treatment on these portals for those listings that have this rich media. Again, rich media is property tours, floor plans, documents, professional photography, and video. So it gives preferential treatment to push this up to the top of the list so that your listing gets more exposure. So if you look at all the listings out there, and we've done the test, we ran the numbers, the listings that have rich media are getting 4 to 5 more clicks, 5 times more clicks, not 4 or 5 more clicks, 4 to 5 times more clicks than those that do not. So those types of rich media pieces is what we're trying to give you in your dashboard here to help you market your properties more effectively. That's the goal. Understanding how it works at a high level. Now, the only thing we can't do is go do them for you. Okay. But I promise you, we get calls every single day going, well, my listing's not getting the exposure I thought. Why am I getting more clicks? And every single time they're missing floor plans, they're missing property tours, they're missing all this types of stuff. So we want to give you this as, this Property Panorama is kind of our gift to you for the holidays. Is how we want to tee this up because it is the final piece of it. Now, again, it's not an end all be all. It is this tile right here. It is not an end all be all for your business and what you're spending on marketing. It's not to compete with you. Okay. But it is something that's going to give every single one of our listings a very high level virtual tour. Okay. At a very high level. And there's a lot of stuff that this is going to do for you. And so I have not set up anything yet, as you can see, on purpose, knowing that we're going to talk about this tool today. But the first thing you need to do is upload your profile picture and upload your company logo. They don't come over naturally. They do in some cases. If you've got multiple accounts with Property Panorama, for example, if you are a member of Stellar, you may have that crossover. It may be there. But for the most part, out of the box, which is what I am, completely out of the box, this is what you will see when you click on it to get yourself started. So you will need to go ahead and get your digital portfolio up and running by uploading your picture and uploading your logo, okay? So simple, just click on it and you're going to select a picture and you're going to upload it exactly how you would expect to. And the same thing is true for your company logo. Okay. Those are the first things you should do. Okay. So I have no listings. If you had listings, you would have view more listings here. Okay. And then you can create a tour. Now everyone's going to come with a tour, and let me explain how this works from my understanding, and being working with the folks from Property Panorama for as long as we have been. It is going to basically create a tour for everybody. Let me see what we've got here. So as you go through this process, so you're going to go through and you're going to input your listing as normal. It's going to go out and it's going to pull that actual listing once you put it on there, and it's going to give it a property tour. And so what does that mean? So here's where you may have to do some diligence so your property tour looks decent. When people upload photos, everybody does everything a little bit differently. And I'll tell you what this does is it's going to grab your first 5 photos that you've got in your listings in slots number primary 2, 3, 4, 5. Those photos are going to make up your initial virtual tour. Now, you can change it. It's made to be automated, right? It's made to be out of the box automated. So you don't have to actually change anything, but you can. Any one of these tours that gets created, you look at it and go, this doesn't flow right. This doesn't look right. All of a sudden, the first picture is you forgot, and your assistant uploads the first picture is the bathroom, or the first picture is, the backyard or whatever, and it's just a normal backyard. And you're like, that doesn't look right. It doesn't grab your attention. You can update this, okay? And you can add and enhance all of this as you go through and do this. Now, one thing I'll promise you is you can't break it. I played with it over the weekend, and I was unable to break this. And I was going in on some of our test accounts and playing around with it. You cannot break it. So the first 5 pictures can come over automatically, and that will be syndicated back into the MLS, and will be attached as an attachment. And I'll show you where that's going to be at inside the MLS itself, but it'll be an actual attachment URL link. What they're going to push back into the MLS once they create the tour, which again is the 5 pictures, very short, very simple, high level, right? But it's that rich media that we care about that gets you to the top, right? So it doesn't have to be $1 million worth of media. It just has to be rich media, right? So it's going to push your listing to the top. It's going to go syndicate that back out, and it's going to be unbranded. So what you're going to get on this instance is you're going to be able to get multiple tours. You'll be able to get an unbranded tour as well as a branded tour as you go through this process. Okay. You also have the ability here, if you click on this, to go ahead and add in a custom tour. I mean, you may want to actually do a tour and do a custom. Okay. Unbranded description. You got your branded description for it. You got a flyer description, which you can get the ability to go ahead and print flyers out as well, etc. So you're gonna be able to do that right off that front page, which is where I just came in from, and then save it. All right, let's go through the left to right here. Here's your dashboard. This is what I kind of showed you. If you have more listings, you have it here. Sharing the social media, you can set up your syndication, and you get your social media here as well, and then activity and account activity. Okay. Then you go to your store. So there are some things that you can update, right? But InstaView is a visual tour, digital marketing. This is what's included in your package. Everything that's in here, okay? Services are free of charge, something that we're picking up the tab for. There's neighborhood insights. There's some other things here, ad intensity, if you want to put some ads behind it, some video ads, etc. So there's that involved in it, okay? As you go through here. All right, I'm going to go back here to account. Again, this is where you can put in an office website. You can, your company name, your office name. If you have a slogan for your company, for your team, you can add customer testimonials here, phone numbers. You can put in a cell phone number, a mobile number. You can add it. I think there's 4 phone numbers you can put in on this. Understand that everything you put in here too will be part of that single website. We'll talk about that more, but you get a single property website with every single one of your listings now. So you can promote that website on social media channels just using a URL. And the nice thing about this is when people click on it and inquire, this is lead gen for you. So the other thing it does do for you is generate that lead generation that you're looking for. You put your website and your biography on here. So a lot of information you can add in here as well. Next one is your listings. So you should be able to go in here. And by the way, when I showed you you're doing a custom one, this started last week, Wednesday. So it's new listings from Wednesday on. You may say, you know what, this is actually good. I got 2 listings that may not have any traction. Let me go back and create one for this. Okay, because it's not necessarily going to go backwards and create them for you. It is really kind of when we launched it, which was Wednesday last week, that it's going to take that and anything moving forward. So just be aware of that. Okay, so all your listings will show up here. You have all the information you need. You can search by listing number. You can then down you go MLS numbers. You can sort by all kinds of different things, price to low, and then you can put filters in here, right? So anything you want to do, just actives or customs or whatever, you can pull that as well. Next, you got statistics. You got listing statistics. This is where the rubber kind of hits the road, in my opinion. You know, we had List Track, which we're looking for a replacement. They changed over to a subscription model last year. Really didn't give us a lot of room to play and be able to provide that as a tool. But they did do a subscription model where the agents, if they love the tool, they can subscribe themselves and pay additional money for it. What I love about this is you're going to get some really great statistics on your listings, on clicks and promotional things and those types of stuff. So it's not necessarily going to come back from the portal, right? So it's not coming back from Realtor.com and Zillow, but it's your efforts that you've done to promote this on your social channels and push it out, right? So whether they find it on your actual website or you're spending the time to actually go through and actually do this and put it out there, or having it some automation behind that. There's tons of tools and automation on, they're built on AI to automate the process of posting, but this will give you your results. What I think you'll find, and what I saw from the demos, and this is a tool that I used when I was in business through Stellar, is that the more you work it, the more you promote your listings, the more data you're going to get, the more listing stats. This is great to go in and have that price correction that you may need to have that conversation with that seller. This is going to give you additional data points for that. Listen, I posted this thing 32 times. As you can tell here by the listing stats, here's what we got. So if I had listings, you would see the listing stats on here as well. Okay. Next, you got syndication and settings. So this is kind of interesting. So you can syndicate over to video generation. There's all these different tools on here. Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and you can push yes or no. Okay, so if I push yes on this, it's going to ask me for my login ID of my Facebook account. So you're going to set this up, once and done, and have it in there. Okay, but this is where it's going to go, and this will tell you a little bit about what it is as you pull this stuff up. What's video generation, right? Automatically generates virtual listing videos. This is kind of a cool tool as well. So you'll be able to do all this, set this up. And then again, if you got a YouTube channel, you put all this stuff out there, all your virtual tours can be out there. And again, that gives you power, because if you've got some good traction with your YouTube channel, it's going to give your listing additional exposure on a third-party site. That's also going to give you a boost in SEO on that YouTube channel. So it's got multiple different positive factors. It's like when your mom tells you to have a vitamin, it not only is good for health, it makes you give energy and all these other byproducts of taking that vitamin. It's the same thing here. I love the strategy around using the automation to YouTube and getting a very good YouTube channel set up. You can make the headers on YouTube, and you can make the pictures and all that good stuff very brand specific. You can use Canva. If you're not using Canva now, Canva is a great program. We had at our MLS Summit, our TechCon last year, we had Craig Grant talk about the different ways to automate some of the marketing behind Canva. But for $14 a month, it is the premier version of it, and absolutely incredible. So you can produce your headers for all of your Facebook, X, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram and have it be consistent. It just changes the size of it. So once you design it, you can change the sizes, and now you got a consistent branding. And then if you can get all of these, all of your listings to syndicate over to YouTube, and you're promoting that YouTube channel, right? That will give you some SEO. The other thing you can do at that point when you syndicate it over is go in and edit that video and put the description in from your actual MLS, copy paste that in. And you can also leverage artificial intelligence. The chat or Grok will actually help you go ahead and give it a lift of SEO for keywords. So you can copy and paste your listing description into Grok, Grok. For those of you who have not used Grok yet, it's fantastic. Drop it in there and say, give me 15 keywords for my YouTube channel posting of a listing. Here's the description of the listing. And it's going to come back with some keywords that now you start to get found more. So not only is your property being seen, but you're being seen. And if you got this beautiful branding behind it, they're gonna remember you. So I love that strategy with YouTube and being able to go ahead and have this automated right from this process of doing a virtual tour. So again, all of your social media is up here. Does not have Instagram is the one that's missing here, but everything else can be pretty much syndicated over there. Notifications. So again, this is for what notifications you want to get, okay? And so you can do leads. It's automatically yes in email. Do you want yes in SMS? If somebody clicks on your listing and they find it on, you go through and you have your YouTube channel up there and you're posting it to LinkedIn automatically and Facebook, and somebody clicks on that and wants more information on that property and your listing, it's going to go back to you. So email is going to get stuck in this black hole of email that we don't want to look at every day because we get hundreds of them. Or do you want it to have SMS texting to you? You have to turn that on. So make sure that if you're going to want those leads to come to you so that you can respond quickly to them, that actually happens, and you switch that. So this is all other things here. Maybe you want to really leverage this tool and you want to sign in for all the training webinar updates. Maybe you want training webinar announcements, quarterly newsletter from them. This company's been around for 20 some years, and just has evolved and continues to innovate. This Property Panorama, that's why I was so impressed with it. As much as our business over the last 20 years has changed as a whole, they've continued to innovate and get better at what they do. So it's kind of amazing. So and here you go. This is where your email notifications go. Your SMS number, you got to put in here itself. Okay. And then you got, I don't know what Ken Burns effect is, but I got it turned on. I really don't know what that is, but you want to put your phone number in here for your SMS. Okay. All right. Next is member manager, which you guys don't have. It's on my account only. So, all right. So above the top here. So you got InstaView on here and add intensify. So, so I'm going to show you a quick sample of what this is going to look like here. Hopefully this will play well on Zoom. We didn't have any problems playing video last week. So hopefully that's the case here too. But this is what it's going to kind of look like when you do your tour. It's good. It's a little slow here. So this is just based on pictures. Turn the volume way down. So again, this is all based on pictures that, it zooms in, zooms out. It's not a true Matterport. And again, it's not intended for that. It's intended to not compete with the marketing dollars that agents spend on their own listings. So it's only to enhance what you currently have. So pretty decent stuff here. It's always going to be branded to you as the agent, and then have the ability to do details, which is coming from the property description itself. So it integrates as well with Respi AI. So this is dining area. This is panorama. So this is kind of out there. From that standpoint, here you got exterior front. So whatever's in that you're doing with your photo editing or your photo descriptions in there, you're going to get Respi. If you have Respi on, it's going to give you that description. That's going to pull over here. So But yeah, this is what it looks like. So not a bad deal with that. So, um, and then any of the ad Tensify. So there are advertising things you can add on, different products here, video campaigns, features. You know, you're going to get a email that says, "Hey, you want to upgrade your listings?" Listen, some of it's going to make sense to upgrade on, and some are not. It's just going to depend on you, okay, what you want to do with it. You get news on here. You can also contact them today. They will get back to you. They have a great support team there. This is Mike Barnett's the CEO. James and Colton, those that you were on last week, Colton is who you met. And then they've got all the support people here. So they've got a great support team. I've been very happy with them, the implementation and that type of stuff. All right, top right-hand corner here. Again, you'll have the same basic menu as you do on the left-hand side, okay? Settings, logging out of your account, etc. So once you put your picture on there, it'll be up there. Education next to it is training videos. I did want to show this to you. This is an area, and this will be updated into our YouTube channel as well and integrated in there. Tons of information on here is how to use this stuff. And testimonials from other agents that are using this effectively. If once you figure out that, there's really nothing you do have to buy, it's a full in the box package. I think you guys will all be very, very happy with it from that perspective. So, all right. So that is Property Panorama. I'm going to stop my share here. I don't see any questions. I'm going to move on to the next thing that we're going to talk about today, which is as we continue down the road here on the rich media and some of the stuff that we've added. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. So again, I think it's important that that you recognize the tools that will help you with your listing, and that's really what the name of the game is here for us. We don't want to compete with your marketing, the dollars you're spending. We also don't want to compete with your broker's marketing dollars that they're spending or the tools that they're providing. However, for the masses, I think this is this is important. Cubicasa is here. I'm going to click on that real quick and show you. You're going to go here and go ahead and log in. And I hope this computer remembers me because I know I logged in before. It may or may not have remembered me. Most of the stuff I save. Oh, there it is. All right. So for some reason, it did remember me. So you can go to privacy notice if you didn't sign on to that before. So again, we have partnerships with this through Nextdoor Photos. They've been a great supporter of us, and they do all kinds of stuff, Matterport, those types of things. So for our e-photography, and then another photography company here. These are ones that you can get a floor plan from them as well, okay, if you need to. And then any orders you've had. So if it's, as your dashboard goes at it, I mean, you may have listings of stuff in here that comes out here. This actually comes in the idea of an app. So you want to download the Cubicasa app as well, if you have it. And to give you kind of a high level view of this, when we sold our building in Cape Coral, we did a floor plan for that building. It was a very unique building. Those of you that have been there, education center in the back, I had a boardroom in the back corner, these hallways, all these different pocket doors, administrative offices, at a kitchen that had a IT room. We did that entire, I'm going to call it 4,000 square feet, maybe 5. We did that entire thing in like 30 minutes with our phone. The cool thing about it, which is the other thing that people really like about floor plans, is the square footage of a room or the dimensions of a room. All that feedback came through what NER surveys were, as well as third-party surveys with companies like T360 or Wave Group are questioning the actual consumers that are searching and saying, what do you look for? And room size is part of it. We all know that people have different size furniture. I've had people that had huge bedroom sets with very large beds, California Kings, and then they have their, their nightstands that are oversized as well, and just large furniture. So people want to know what that is, and it's nicer when you can save people time and efficiencies by having information up front, right, of that property. So that's the property panorama, or I'm sorry, the Cuba Casa, and then you'll be able to attach it. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. I'm going to go into the MLS real quick and kind of show you a couple things as it pertains to listings. I don't know if I have any listings in here. We try to have at least a practice listing in here. But want to show you a couple things with that. So this is the weirdest place to put this, but this is on the general side, which is where I'm here. People say, well, where do you put the virtual tour links? Well, here you got two of them right here. Okay. And so I don't know why it's there. It's been there since I've been a member, going back now 18 years. It's always been where it's been. So I have no idea why it's there, but this is where you can put your virtual tour links. So and this is where you also will see your property panorama. Now, let's say if this happens automatically, right? So the automation's there, which is what we want. We do not want to burden our customers, subscribers, yourself on doing this. So, but if you want to remove it, like, hey, listen, I don't want this in there. You just simply come up here, take it out, hit save, and you're done. Okay. Because again, we don't want it. This is not something we're forcing people to do. It's automatic. And it's for the right purpose of giving listings exposure. But if you don't want that done, then, just go ahead and delete it there. We talked about room sizes. Again, this is information that's over what they call a API IDX plus feed. This is what a lot of the portals are getting, is the IDX API plus. And so this is the feed they're getting. They get this information in there. So for room dimensions, if you have a room type here and you put in here kitchen, and then you put the size, because you have a floor plan that supports it, right? You can add this. It's going to come over with that IDX plus API feed over to the portals. Again, it's something that people want. So having this room and dimensions information there, is going to give you nothing but positive on it. I know, you look at some listings and you're like, well, this person probably was in a real hurry to throw this in the MLS, but you got to do your consumers right. In today's marketplace, with the numbers the way they are, it's important your listing stands out. So this is an area that you can go in there and you can add that rich media of room types and dimensions, right? All right. Going back here, on this, not this page, syndication. All right. So I want to take 2 quick seconds on this. This is going to be delayed marketing, yes, no. Okay. If you have yes marked, you can go 7 days. Okay. And keep it off of the IDX and keep it off of the portals. Delayed marketing is a bad word that really doesn't describe what it is. It's really anti, it's off MLS or off of internet. I would call it that if it was going to be my choice. But this is where you find that. Everybody asks what the tool is for. So if you're working with the customer, let's say you're getting professional photography done, or you're going to go over there and do a Cuba Casa floor plan, etc., and there's some things that need to get cleaned up, but you take a picture of the front elevation, you put it in the MLS, use delayed marketing, your customer and you agree, it won't be on the portals until you're ready to, which is 7 days maximum. You can go in here and set up as delayed marketing. All right. I think that's it. The one thing I will say too, make sure you're following these rules here. I know all of you are probably really keen into, let's look that up and said, real keen into the rules. We do not allow any compensation or commission in MLS. So under property information and confidential remarks, we've got that in there in red. We still have people putting bonuses in there and putting dollar amounts and putting percentages in there and all this other kind of stuff. And we really are about 18 months since the announcement of it. It was announced in March or April of last year. But we're still seeing people do it. So make sure it is an immediate $1,000 fine. It's not something you want to have to deal with. So please make sure that you do not put that in there. All right. All right. So back to remarks, that would be it. Then you would just hit your submit listings here and you're done. So as you go back to that, you can add and edit supplements. I don't know how many of you are using supplements, but it's under your listing as you're going through your add edit supplements. This is where you're going to attach your floor plan. It's a PDF floor plan. Remember, your floor plans, your attachments cannot have branding on it. Obviously, you want to keep that. I understand that you can't have branding in there, so you don't have a big logo or something on it. Here we've got floor plan number one. Underneath environmental disclosure, you got floor plan. It's the first thing that pops up here. It is one of the things that, again, consumers are looking for. You can add HOA docs, home inspection reports, home warranties. So if you have a homeowner warranty on it, lead-based paint, mold disclosures, others. So you've got it by that, but you can add these in there and upload them in. So as you go. So that's where supplements go. And then when you add it in, you upload it, you hit submit, and then it's there. So again, why do you do that? If you've got something that's in an HOA, and you want everything done your way, then you can do it that way and make sure that everything's done the way it's supposed to be done and using the form they're supposed to use. So, all right, I got a couple questions. I'm going to take a break here quick to take some questions. I've got the first question is, with Cuba Casa, can I use it when previewing for a client when there's no floor plan listing? I wouldn't do any floor plan of a listing. It's not mine. They don't have permission to market necessarily. I know that it's always best to get permission to do something of that nature. Ask your broker would be the answer I would give you. And also, yeah, I mean, it's just like when you do FaceTiming, right? You FaceTime somebody at somebody's property, you have a showing set up, but or taking pictures, always get that permission. Always ask your broker. So something that you want to share with the client. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely talk to your broker about it. People have done videos, of out of town buyers before, and sent them back, but they've had they typically get permission. That's kind of the way to do it. From that listing agent, say, hey, listen, I want to do a quick floor plan with my phone. Do you think your seller will mind? You can get it in writing. But yeah, I would talk to your broker first. I usually get that disclosure. I'm not your broker, not your attorney, and I'm not a therapist. But I would talk to your broker first for sure on that. All right, so that is the document. Again, your floor plan counts as rich media in here. This is where you would put it. All right. While I've got everybody on here, a lot of you are probably on the new search. This is the old search here. So it defaults back for me as I go back and forth here with 100 different things, but this is the new search and what that looks like. So again, you've got on the side here, you got price. It just kind of scrolls down. Waterfront, yes. Golf access, yes. They'll start to pull that up. And then you've got the button here, which allows you to basically bring the map up as well with the 3 buttons. So you'll see that start to open up with the actual, there you go. So this is the new search. It's a lot more intuitive than what typically a search would look like. You can open up to the actual just all map, or you just do the list side. You do both, kind of a hybrid of both. But this gives you that map with the 3 little levels here and kind of what each of these houses look like. It's kind of a cool deal because when you pull the pictures up, I want to see a living room picture. It's going to pull up 3 living room pictures, kitchen pictures, bar pictures, etc. So it's going to pull those things up if they're labeled correctly, and then all photos obviously there. So kind of a cool little deal with the photos there. A little bit easier to look at. On the right, you got the property card that you'll see there. So it's got on this side your search, and the right side has got the property card. So you can keep going back and forth with that. So This is the new search. If you have not seen it, if you've not used it, if you're not playing with it, do so. It is actually really kind of a cool search. We were a little nervous about rolling it out, but we've got nothing but positive feedback on it. It's been a really good upgrade for people as they do that. All right, so that's that piece there on that. The last thing I'm going to kind of go over here, and we'll kind of open up to some more questions. I've got some coming up here too. Question is, can you search by geocode? Yeah, you can. If you know the geocodes, you can. You can also go do the drop down. That has not changed. Where it's at is different. Let me go back into the matrix there. So if I go over here to the right-hand side or left-hand side, it's going to give you a whole bunch of stuff. Street address, city, state, zip code, development. Geocode is in here somewhere. Your built private pool, legal unit, property type. I know I've seen it in here because before we put this live, we were beating it up and looking at the different things. The geocode should be in here. Subtype. I don't see it on the left-hand side there. Off access. It was on there. That's a good question. Let me take a note here. We meet with our vendor for MLS, this tool for Matrix every single Tuesday at 11 o'clock. We meet with them. So let me add that in there because it was on there. We were playing with it. Because I made a comment as well about that because you've got the map search. So let me ask that question. Good question. By the way, for those of you that are using this and you want to go back to the classic mode, you can do that. Okay. You go back to classic. So it's got classic mode. I can go back to the new dashboard and then just go back to new classic on here as well. So hit classic. There I am there. So if you hit your residential search, then on the search residential, right? And then if you ask about geocodes, it's in here on this drop down, but I know it was in the ones we tested. So I will ask that question. All right. So moving along. So I'm going to show you one more quick thing here as we go through this, and then we got a couple minutes for questions. We'll let you guys get back to hopefully lunch or whatever you guys got going on. So the next thing I want to kind of talk about here is that real reports. I talked about kind of going into it and really understanding it. So we brought this on. We launched it in March. We've been talking with them for about 14 months now. About 14 months ago is when we started talking to them. And one of the things I would say is their product is forever evolving. And we did get on at a good time with them because it is one of those things where you're on the cutting edge with a prop tech company that really understands it, give you some background, and they probably wouldn't tell this to you. They were in the room together. But everybody that is in that company right now is or was a real estate broker and agent. And they created this for their own purpose. So a lot of time when prop tech is created, it's because there's a gap in what's being offered on the open market piece, right? So they basically said, we're not going to we're not going to go ahead and be able to look at 15 different places. You got RPR, you got Remind, you got all these different places to look. And you're not going to be able to do that without having everything hubbed in one spot, right? Or there's nothing out there that will hub these guys together in one spot. So they were frustrated with the fact they had to go to all these different areas. Okay. I had two questions up here. Can you add search criteria like we do in the classic mode? I don't know what kind of search criteria you're looking at. And then how long classic mode be available. I don't see classic any time in the near future going away. If that decision's made, it won't be made by us. It'll be made by the vendor. If they don't support it any longer, I don't see us going away from a classic mode. People have been using this system since 2010, which is 15 years of using the same system. It is really, really hard to pull the plug on something like that. So I don't see that necessarily happening unless the vendor tells us this is what needs to happen. In which case, we would obviously communicate that as many places we can so that you guys would know. So hopefully I answered your question, and let me know what kind of search criteria you'd like to have added, because we're open to making this thing work for every single one of our customers. I mean, there's no one size fits all when it comes to MLSs, and there's always things that you guys want to add in it and suggestions, and we take those to the committee, and then they go to the board. And I can tell you that, the more we add to it, first and foremost, it's got to fit within what they call the RESO dictionary, which is Real Estate Standard Organization. We are certified. We're one of the only MLSs here on this side of the coast that are certified with our API. We got certified about a year ago. That means that when you're looking at our data flowing to other locations like a portal, your own personal website, those types of things, that those data points are called what they're supposed to be called and mapping correctly. So it's a mapping process and data integrity process that we take very seriously. It took us years to get 2.0 certified, so we want to maintain that. So it's got to fit within that RESO dictionary and that RESO standard as we add different fields into the mix. So hopefully that answers a little bit of that. But we don't want we never change for sake of this changing. There's always a lot of thought that's put into this stuff as well. So, but there's things that you need, please go ahead and email it to us, and we'll try to hear it out. All right, so you got on the bottom, you get your reports that you've done. This again, the reason I bring this up is you got Property Panorama that's giving you leads on your listings, which is huge. I mean, who else is giving you leads in your own listings? And it's just part of your subscription. This is, the way that I envision MLS as we move forward, is that MLS should be looked at not like a utility, like a electric company or water company, etc., but it should be looked at as a partner, as a strategic partner to help you create revenue for your business. Your business is selling homes, and the MLS is that center. It's that source of truth of all things real estate as it comes to properties for sale, properties that were pending and properties that are closed, property expired, terminated, etc. That's that source of truth. We want to have that maintained. It's important for that data integrity piece of it, but we want you to look at it as, another sale occurred because of the MLS. Think about it. Nothing would have sold in most cases unless it's completely off market, which if you've got that kind of sphere of people around you, you can make happen and make a good living at it. But if you don't, in your listing properties and you have buyers and all that stuff, that hub of all things real estate transactional happens because of that MLS. And we understand that, and we want to make sure that it's the best tool out there to make sure that those transactions continue to happen. So that's why we're highly focused on it. So when you look at the stuff we're trying to do is give you back leads for you. So there is lead gen on Real Reports that if you haven't dived into this, you're going to want to do. This is some examples that we pulled up. But as you have these reports out there, people that log in to look at that report on that property is a lead. So where are you putting those reports? There's all kinds of strategies around how people are leveraging this to have these reports out there in order to get more additional leads. So it is the second tool that we've added in the last 12 months that does give you the ability to generate more additional business and put more money in your pocket. Besides for the fact that everything happens because of the MLS and everything that hangs on and alongside the MLS, all the different tools on your dashboard, we are trying, dearly to provide you a value on some of these lead gen things. So that is on here as well. Okay. Prospector, again, this is another cool tool they just added. I think this is a really cool thing. You enter your location, address or phone number on here. It's going to go ahead and then you're going to go ahead and search for properties. So you give you some properties out there that, could help you prospect there. Pulse, another good tool. These are all kind of add-on things, but they're still very, very good. I want to focus on real quick as we wrap up here is the agent branding. We're seeing a lot of people that really are using this tool but haven't set up their branding, right? So if I'm a consumer and I bought a house from you and you're sending me a real report of my house every year, or maybe doing a real report this year and next year you're going to do an RPR, property report or seller report, but you're sending me something of value every year. If it's not branded to you, I don't know where it came from. Okay. And we always talk about how NAR does these surveys and does Wave Group and T360 and all these other consulting firms. And they always say they would use their agent, consumers would use their last agent, but they can't remember who they are, haven't heard from them. And we know how much money it costs to generate that one specific lead that then goes down the funnel of a transaction into a sale that puts money in your pocket. That's not cheap, right? So you want to hold on to those customers. And I hate when people use the word past clients. Listen, a client's a client, right? You don't know what next catastrophic thing's going to happen in their life that's going to cause them to make a real estate decision. We've seen it a lot. I mean, just in my own family, I had a cousin that just basically sold and bought a house because of things that happened in his life personally. And the house he just listed, he just bought 17 months ago. So he made a decision for a personal reason. So if we think it's every 5 to 7 years somebody makes a move, it's not. People make real estate moves all the time based on personal situations. And you need to be in tune with those folks and be connected to them. They need to remember your name. You need to be front and center in order to make that happen. And it costs way too much money to generate new leads. A lot more money than it does to take care and love on your current clients, right? They're clients. They're not past clients. They're clients. When you call somebody a past client, it's like saying I have a past child. Are they no longer your child? These people are your clients. You acquire them. You have a relationship. They're your clients. They used to make me laugh because I'd have you mortgage brokers go to a hockey game. I got a suite at the Everblades game for client appreciation party back about 6 years ago. I had mortgage brokers bring a couple clients with them. He goes, oh, this is my past client, Dave. I said, Dave, you're not going to buy real estate anymore? Well, yeah, I'll buy real estate again. Well, why are you a past client? So just remember that. It's that state of mind as you move forward with that. So again, I am going to tell you, take care of your branding here. It's so important. All the information, your licenses, website URL, if you have listings, Instagram here, reviews, anything you've got, make sure this is updated. Real reports, why this is important is you get actual reports. Okay. You get reports for free, and you can generate these reports based on an address. And you should be using them. You should not show up to a listing appointment without having a real report in your hand. Let's be honest with you, because it may be that one single thing that's going to be somebody else going, wow, this person knows more about my house than I do, because it can give you a lot of information about that home. So just remember that. Again, I want to highlight here, you have Education Hub on the left-hand side. This is all their education. They got tons of great things down here. Upcoming webinars, how to use this, how to make money, how to generate more leads. There's some really smart people using this around the country. And you've got, the slide decks and the different things. You've got some YouTube channel stuff here. Go out there and spend an hour and just educate yourself on the value of this tool. I think you'll be very pleased with what it is. And, this is something too, somebody asked about doing a floor plan for a customer. You got a buyer report in here, you got a seller report. If you're ready to write a contract, spend the money and get that person that buyer's report. $10, something like that. It's not a lot of money. You go up here and order that buyer report on that property, it's gonna give you a lot of information, especially now post hurricanes, right? We've had, we had Irma. For those of you who remember Irma, we had Ian. who can forget Ian? And now you just had two more last year at the tail end of the season that kind of hit the Tampa area, but we were affected downtown and some other areas on that one. Real reports is important, when you talk about disclosures and things of those natures, to be able to do that. So, all right. So I'm going to go back to my questions, make sure I've got everybody answered. On the classic mode on the bottom, all fields that are in the data set are listed. You could select HOA fees and add. Okay, so that's your answer to that. Yeah, so expanding on the search, yeah, they are working on that. To add some of those things to search by, but that's why classic I think is going to remain in place because it does have a lot more data set on it and a lot more additional things that you can search by. They are working on adding those additional fields on the left-hand side, like you saw on the MLS itself. When you're on Matrix and you go to the actual, see if I can go to take off the classic mode. When you look at it here and you do a search over here to be able to go ahead and add some more additional things, you do have the customize tool, which is my understanding where they're going to be launching this stuff from. So you've got all this here. If you want to add some stuff, I'm trying to get rid of my question box. This is where you're going to add. This is where the might be the AVMs on here. This might be where you have building description, building number, days on market. This is where you add it. So that you can see they're currently adding a bunch of this stuff, right? Somebody wanted to know about geocodes. So let me see if I got geocodes in here. Geocode, bam. There you go. Save. And now it's on your left-hand side. So it's a little gear up here is where they're adding the stuff to. So go there and you guys will be able to add anything you want, hit save. So again, this is meant, the whole idea behind doing this is that every single one of you, and it happens in the office too, my employees, everyone looks at and searches differently, okay? They all search differently. So you may start with geocode. I may start with city state. I may start with a map. Joanna may start with a property address. We all search differently. This is going to be highly customizable for you to have the things that are important to you on that left-hand side. We added city, we just added geocode, right? So it should be in the list here somewhere. But to put as much of the stuff that you want on here so that you can add the information that's important to you, pool, there's geocode, select, bam. And I can just go in here and select my geocodes, right? And apply, and bam, that's the geocodes they're going to put in there. So you can add this stuff in here. It's meant to be hyper personal for you and for you to search the way that you like to search and set it up and save it. And it's good. And every time you go up there and play with it, it's different. Now I go in here a lot to duplicate and mimic issues people may be having. So I'm constantly turning things on and off, but that's why I couldn't find the geocode before. I'm like, I know it's in here because I constantly go back in there and do it. But once you get set the way you like to see it, keep it set up that way. It's meant to be hyper personal for you. So, all right. Perfect. Pamela's happy. And that makes me happy. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Have a great, happy Monday. So with that, I appreciate everybody joining us this morning. Have a great, fantastic week. And I'll see everybody next week, Monday.